I like to do things a certain way. I like to run things a certain way. And so long as I'm working for someone else, I can't really tell that person, we should do these things this way, because I don't have any control. I don't have any ownership, right? Whereas if I'm doing it on my own, I can choose to do pro bono work for, an up and coming artist or whatever, you know what I mean? And I don't have to ask for permission, you know what I mean? So those are the things that really started to switch in my mind for me to say, well, I can do this. I'm capable enough. I think I'm, at risk of sounding arrogant, intelligent enough to do this. So why shouldn't I at least try? In the worst case scenario, I fail, but I still have a law degree. I'm still a licensed attorney. So long as I don't do anything illegal, you know what I'm saying? That's never going to change. I would hate myself if I didn't try it, is basically what it came down to. So that's really what made me change my mind, I guess, about the whole thing.
Got you. So, and based on the timeline you're talking about, it was pretty much a 6-month kind of ramp up from when you made the decision or you felt comfortable to when you actually took that leap, right? What was your process like getting ready to do that? Was it just reading? Was it more networking events? Was it incubator courses on small business? How did you prepare yourself mentally to get up to speed?
Well, first, I'm going to keep it 100%. I was able to secure basically a small business loan from my father-in-law at the time. So that was the number one thing. So really was working myself up to ask him to loan me the money, right? Okay. So that I could support myself and build it up. Thankfully, I was able to pay all that back with interest. Just paid it all back last year. So shout out to that. Shout out to Anibal, who is resting in peace now. So shout out to the big homie for helping me out. And I had that support to let me feel okay. And like I said, I had other contacts that I knew that were going to be feeding me cases to keep me going. And then eventually I started to research ways to network and, do all of those things. So it was a little bit of everything, and letting people know that I was going to strike out on my own and that, I was ready, willing, and able to help them and to be their legal counsel when and if they needed it.
Gotcha. So one thing that people don't mention, or it doesn't get talked about enough, when you make that transition out into the wilderness, out on your own, once you step from underneath that umbrella and let go of that safety net, everything goes from black and white and in straight lines to just a swirl of chaos, right? It just instantly. What are some of the things that you do just on a day-to-day basis to just keep you level?
I'm a big proponent and fan of meditation. Every day, I can't say I do it every single day. Mm-hmm. I try to do it every single day. And 10 minutes just to sit in silence and to be still. Because the legal profession in and of itself is not necessarily chaotic, but it's high stress. No matter what it is you're doing, because to you it may be a run-of-the-mill rudimentary thing. For a client of yours, it may be their whole life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm doing it every single day. For them, this is something that they never do, and they're putting that stress on you. Mm-hmm. And so you have to deal with everybody else's stress, apart from dealing with the own stresses of just being a human being in life. And I find that meditation helps me a lot in just centering myself and allowing me to be a human being and not a lawyer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then also another thing that I don't want to say live and die by, but definitely something that I'm a proponent of is journaling. But that's more recent. And to be fair, I came to these realizations through a variety of things, through therapy, through journeys with indigenous medicines, we'll call it. But they really open my third eye, my mind to other things, you know what I mean? And like I said, journaling just helps me put whatever stresses are in my mind onto a piece of paper, and that simple act makes it feel like it's no longer in me. Now I've released it, it's gone, you know what I'm saying? It's now into the ether, and I don't have to worry about it, right? Whereas, and then meditation is a way to like just find stillness and center myself and just be.
Okay, so we're going to go down this rabbit hole for a little bit, right? So for me, that's one of the things I like to mention when I speak to people that caught me by surprise when I started this journey. I didn't know how much of a spiritual process this was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I believed and I had faith, but like I said, once you step from that realm of safety, it all changes. The way your self-talk, the way you believe in yourself, the way you see other people see you and how other people look at you, it all changes like at the drop of a dime, right?
Right.
So that was one of the things that I really had to strengthen my mind, my willpower, just to make it through, right? And you bringing that up, how did your relationship with the with the faith and understanding who you were, how did that change before and during like the first years of the trip?
To be fair and completely honest, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a very strong believer, quote unquote, right? I'm not a religious person. I might have been in the past, but I don't consider myself a religious person. I'm definitely more of an agnostic person. Regardless, I do think, though, that there is something about going within yourself and having a kind of peace and faith in who you are and the decisions you've made, and recognizing that if you've done the steps beforehand and you were confident enough to make the decision because of the steps that you took to get here, remember that, recognize that.
All right.
And sure, the negative self-talk is going to happen because I have a huge problem with that. I'd be all the time just, negative, denigrating myself sometimes, right? Because like, oh, I haven't done this much, and and there are people doing more, and but in reality, I think that's just, at least in my experience, me believing that other people are saying that about me, when in reality, people probably don't think about me, period,
Right.
And I have to recognize that my negative self-talk is probably me just projecting my own insecurities onto myself. And the meditation, the journaling helps me kind of remember that, right? Like, this is just you hating on yourself. Don't hate on yourself.
Right. You got enough people doing that already.
Right. And maybe not even.